Because I did grow up in a theater family, I always wanted to be a performer. I think for a while I wanted to be a person who wakes people up by slapping them with wet washcloths. That's the only other job I ever wanted to do. That was when I was like 4. But no, I just felt at home in that world, and so I always wanted to be a performer, always wanted to be an actor. My parents tell me that when I was like 4 or 5, I would go on these performance rants in front of their friends. So it's always something that I wanted to do. But I think in my mid-20s, I realized that, you know, as much groundwork as my parents had done for me, I needed to, you know, really carve out my own path. So I did have a moment where I was like, I have to kind of see where I stand in the business, what I actually really want to do. You know, it came so naturally to me that I never really thought about who am I exactly as a performer. It was just, that's me. That's who I am, of course. I grew up like this. And then I had that moment where I realized I do have to find my own, make my own footsteps. I can't just follow in my parents' footsteps. All of my characters are either someone I've met or they're inspired by like a snippet of a conversation or something I heard somebody say or an observation I made. So they do all come from real life. And then for me, my characters really are their own people. So they kind of take over when I develop them, and they kind of do what they want to do, you know. They kind of reveal themselves to me. It's more that than me really, you know, crafting the character very consciously. So I love Sabrina too. Thank you for picking up on that. I think that a lot of my characters are very New York and are definitely very much New York inspired. Like you say, you walk down the street and you catch something, you hear somebody say something, or you see somebody on the street, because in New York, people really live their weirdnesses to the fullest because you're expected to do that in New York. There is a lot of inspiration for characters there. But at the same time, really anywhere I go, you know, I meet people that inspire me to create characters from them. But New York is definitely a place also because it's so small in terms of, you know, yeah, it's so small compared to LA, or I'm not sure about Toronto, but you're shoulder to shoulder with everybody and all kinds of different people. It doesn't matter what area you're in, you know, even if it's a fancier area, you're going to get homeless people, you're going to get all types of people there. And everybody takes the subway and everybody walks, you know, down the street together. And so you're in touch with people. That's so different to LA, for example, or the cities where you have to drive everywhere. So I think that that's why it's easier to pick up on the inspiration, on the people, because you're just, you know, shoulder to shoulder with them every day. I do have a moment before I perform live always where I'm like, why am I doing this to myself? It's torture, you know, because I do have adrenaline and I get nervous. But I really love live performing because I love being in touch with people. I love having the instant reaction. I really love connecting with people. I think it's so gratifying and thrilling, and just that's, for me, my favorite aspect probably of the art. You know, writing is very lonely, and you don't, you know, you have an idea and you might think, oh, this is great, but you don't know until you try it out. So that moment, and the moment also where you let just what's happening in the room inspire you and move you to do something else. I always say that, you know, an audience is like a live animal and you're in it together, you know. So it's always so funny to me when people kind of like sit there and they think, it's like, I can see you, you can see me, and I can see you, and I can feel you, you know. So I really love that. I love working off of other people and playing with them. Yeah, and provoking them, making them laugh, you know, feel something. I really, really love that aspect. So there's nothing worse than having like an unresponsive audience for me. It's like really heartbreaking. I get really hurt by that because I love the interaction. From my experience performing in lots of different places, audiences in small towns are some of the best audiences you can have because they're very grateful to see something that's unique and that they don't usually get to see. And a lot of people in bigger cities are snobby, jaded, kind of, they've seen it all. There's so much for them to see. So, like, I've done one of my shows in Oklahoma City. That was one of the best audience I've ever had. Romania, in Bucharest, Romania. Not to say that's a small place. I mean, it's the capital of the country, but still, it's, a more kind of obscure place. I've done my shows in tiny little towns in Germany, and across the board, I have to say those are always the best audiences. Yes, in New York, you get people that, celebrate kind of like different styles of performance and different styles of comedy, and so people are definitely open-minded, but at the same time, they can be arrogant too. Yeah. The experience has been mind-blowing and really amazing, and yeah, really cool. I wasn't a big gamer ever. I had a Game Boy and I played like Sega and stuff like that. I played Sonic, but I was never a big gamer. So when I got the part, I didn't know that it was going to be a huge thing. And as an actor, you're kind of also trained to not expect that ever, because you hear that a lot, and a lot of people go, "Oh, this is going to be huge," and then nothing happens, So you just go, "Yeah, we'll see. I'll believe it when I see it." And then it's been almost a year for me since, everything really started blowing up Overwatch-wise. And it's been so crazy and amazing. I mean, from meeting all the fans and hearing like individual stories to really touching moments where people, tell us that the game has gotten them through depression or even darker, periods in their lives. So that's so amazing, just to think that we're a part of something that gives so much joy or is so important to people. That's so cool, It's so special because you don't get that chance very often as an actor. And then, of course, we've been traveling so much, going to all these different places, and it really brings people together. So that's another really amazing aspect, I think, And I have to say that the Overwatch fans are so colorful and so cool. I'm always like, oh my God, everybody has like pink and red and green hair, and they're all different kind of identities and from different backgrounds and countries, and a lot of people, I think, that play video games have trouble sometimes connecting with people socially. And so, not to say, gamers are all misfits, but I very much identify with not feeling like I belong and feeling kind of, like the weirdo and the alien always everywhere I go. And I think that I connect with a lot of gamers on that, and I feel like the community is very open. And so I always think it's so awesome how colorful the fans are. So I'm most grateful for that aspect of being a part of it. Just the support and how lovely they are, and how cool it is to hear all their stories. I was at Paradise City Comic-Con in Miami, and a fan brought me a drawing of Mercy saying one of my lines from one of my shows. And that was so cool, and he said, "Oh, I love Mercy, but you know what? To be honest, I just really want to see your comedy, and I'm even more excited about your comedy." And that's so cool, and that's what I mean. The fans are so open and supportive. Carolina does her web series, and they're so supportive with that, and Anjali has all of her stuff going on, and they watch all of her stuff, and Johnny does his crazy videos. So it's so cool that they're very open and so supportive. Yeah, very special, and so I think I can speak for all of us that we feel very, very lucky when it comes to that, because that's not a given, you know. My shows are now always packed with Overwatch fans, and they're the best audiences ever. They're just like up for it, you know, they're open-minded. It's really cool.